Hi everyone. In this video we're going to set up an AWS API Gateway and connect it to a Lambda function coded with Go or Golang, which is Google's developed programming language. So first we're going to go to our AWS account. As you can see here, I still need to sign in. And so let me sign in here really quick. I'm not using the root account credentials, so the login console might be different to yours. Okay, so first we're going to go into our API Gateway interface. And as you can see here, I have a bunch of random tests APIs, but let's go ahead and create a new one. And let's call this our YouTube API description. Let's just say connects to Lambda function with Go. And we'll keep the endpoint as regional and just select new API and we'll create the new API. So from here we still have to add our resource and methods. So we'll go to our API that we just created and we're go to actions and create a resource. Let's just call it my API resource. And we're not going to use it as a proxy or enable cores. We're going to create the resource. Now we have our resource, but we still need to add the HTTP methods like get, post, head, and those. So we'll go here and we'll create a method. We'll hit create method. And for this video, we'll just make a simple get method, but feel free to select whichever one you need. And we'll hit here. And okay, so it'll automatically show you this view with the Lambda integration points. Since we're connecting it to the Lambda function, we'll just select that. We will use the Lambda proxy integration, so make sure that's selected. Our Lambda region is going to be US East 2, but that region has to match wherever your Lambda function is located, so make sure you know which region that is. And our Lambda function here. So we still need to, as this says, we don't have any Lambda functions in US East 2, so let's go ahead and create one. And we'll create a simple Lambda function that just returns a string when we throw it a get request video. So let's just say Lambda test function. Or let's call it YouTube function. And like the video title says, we're going to go ahead and use Go or Go. So we're going to then choose an existing role. I just have one pre-made here. It has basic function, policies for Lambda. You can go into your IAM console to update those roles. So we'll hit create function here. These are just showing restrictions of the user account. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now from here you can see that we have our Lambda function right here, but we don't have any triggers. So let's go ahead and add an API Gateway trigger. And we need to go ahead and configure that. YouTube API, deployment stage, security, we'll leave it as open. You could restrict it via IAM or API keys, but for this video we'll just keep it open. But as you can see, if I hit add, we still need to add a deployment stage, or even have one. We do not currently have one in our new API. So let's go back to API Gateway. And now we should be able to see our Lambda function. It should autocomplete, but we can also do that. And it'll just give it access to this API. So it will update your policy template that we selected previously in the Lambda console. Okay, so we're still in the API Gateway console here, and we need to add a deployment stage because like I mentioned before, it's required. So let's go here to Actions while we have our API selected. Let's hit Deploy API. And let's create a new stage. Let's just call it Dev for development. And stage, just a quick description. It's not needed though. We'll deploy that. Okay, so we have our stage now. And now we can go back to our Lambda and hopefully, actually we might have to just refresh it here. Go back to here, API, we want our YouTube API. We want our deployment stage as dev. Notice that before we didn't have a selection, but now we have the dev deployment stage selection. So for security, we're going to leave it open like as before, and we're going to add it. Great. So we're added the trigger, the API Gateway trigger. We'll save it. And that trigger is basically going to, for any method, or in our case, the get method, it's going to trigger this function, and the function is going to respond. And we can update that response, or that response logic, by editing our Lambda functional code. So now, just if we go here to double check, you can go to integration requests. This will give you all your Lambda options, and all of this is the same. Okay, so from here we have our integration request where it shows all of our Lambda function settings and connections. And under method request, you can basically add query string parameters or HTTP headers or request body. We're not going to worry about that for this video, but feel free to make those updates if you need it for your function. We can also test our function right here, but since we don't have any code for our Lambda function, we still haven't updated or uploaded any, this should bring an error. And as you can see, there's an internal server error. If we go all the way down here, execution failed because of the malformed Lambda proxy. So okay, at least it's connecting to the Lambda function. Now we can go and actually create the code and the Golang code to perform our logic. So let's just open up a simple code editor. In my case, I will be using Notepad++, but it doesn't matter which IDE or editor you use. But since we're making a simple function, any editor will do. So let's just write a quick comment. This is going to have our Lambda function Go code. Let me just save that so I don't remember. Lambda tutorial. Let's create a new YouTube Lambda tutorial. Just a folder so we have all of our Go code together. You can actually name this file whatever you want. So let's call it API code, API Lambda .go. As you'll see later. Okay, so we'll save that. So our Go code. Okay, so what do we need in order to use the AWS Golang SDK? Okay, so we're going to need basically one package, which is the most important package. So if you go to their documentation, and I'll leave a link below for this SDK documentation. As you can see, it asks us to go get a GitHub AWS SDK for the Golang language. So I already imported those libraries. Basically, just type it in your command prompt if you're using Windows, or terminal for Linux. So once you do that and have all of your SDKs loaded, we can start using them in our Lambda function. So we'll just keep this simple. This is going to be the main package. We're only going to use one package for this video. Okay, so we're going to have to import the SDK, which will be github.com/ let's just get that. Excuse me, I'm just going to copy and paste so it's easier to use and I don't miss anything. Okay, so we'll also need one other import. So this one will import the Lambda, and we will need to also import the events package. This will basically allow us to use triggers for a Lambda function, or at least get the proper requests and responses for our function. Let's go ahead and save that. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and import one last library for the errors. Now let's just create a simple main function. This will be where the Lambda function starts and handles the request. So in your main function, make sure to have that function, and this will basically start the whole workflow for the Lambda request once a trigger is made and the code processes that trigger. This handle request is a function we're going to make that basically takes the event and does a whole bunch of coding logic or whatever logic you want it to, and then responds with the properly formatted response. So for example, if you wanted to get items from a DynamoDB database, the handle request will get that get method and then query the database and then return the proper response. But for this, we'll just return a simple string. So let's create that handle request method or functions, excuse me. Okay, so what parameters does this take? It will need to take a certain event. In this case, for our API Gateway, it will need a API Gateway proxy response request, or proxy request. So we're gonna let's just call the parameter request, and it will be events dot, excuse me, can't spell today, API Gateway proxy request. And again, this excuse me, this struct or type is coming from this library, and it's going to contain all your JSON for the query parameters and headers and things like that. And what is this handle request going to return? What's the properly formatted return? Well, the events library also comes with a response type. So we'll do API Gateway, but instead of request, it will be response. And we'll return an error if anything's wrong, if I screwed up anywhere. Okay, so now, again, just to go over this real quick, we imported the libraries for the SDK. Then we created this main function with a Lambda start. Lambda start will get that trigger and send any context or request to this handle request. The handle request takes that event, which is in our case the API proxy response request is what we're expecting, and it returns a response, API Gateway proxy response, with an error. Okay, so let's go ahead and respond with something, just to show that this Lambda function is working and triggering correctly by the API Gateway. So we don't want just any request method, HTTP method, we want the get method, because like before, that's what we have right here. That's what we set up. So let's do HTTP method equals get. We don't want put or head or any of those, or delete. Okay, and this is a common parameter for that request type, but go online and see all of the possible request attributes if you would like. So let's just make a simple var string response, let's call it, and it's a string type. Let's just say if the get method is called, then yay a successful response. Okay, we're just responding with a simple string here, but of course you can think of all the different data you could send back with this logic here, with this code, this function. Okay, so can we just return a string? You could, but here we have the proxy response, so let's go ahead and use that. Let's just say API response. Let's create a quick object with that. Events. Can I spell? Events.API Gateway response. And let's make the body our string response. And let's also, you know what? Let's give it a status code of 200, which basically means request went through correctly, no errors, everything's great. And let's return our API response and nil, because don't forget we have to return an error as well. But in this case, if it goes through with the get, there's no error. But what if you get some other random request method? Well, then we should throw an error of some type. You don't have to, but we'll just do it. For example, we'll make a new error and we'll say method not allowed. And again, we have to create that API response just to return it correctly. And let's just copy this. I know I'm lazy, I'm sorry. Okay, so the body will be, let's just say method not okay. And let's give a status code of 502. Again, this is just for illustration purposes. And of course, let's return those. API response with that error. Okay, great. We have a simple function here. Now all we have to do is upload it to our Lambda management console and see if it works. Okay, so now all we have to do is upload our Go code to the Lambda function we just created. There's still one more step that we have to do to upload your Go packages. Basically, we need an extra tool that AWS developed, or an extra library, called this build lambda zip tool. And this is in the AWS Lambda documentation if you're interested. I'll put a link to it as well in the comments below. So we'll use this tool to basically zip up our compiled Go program so we can upload it to AWS Linux. Or sorry, AWS Lambda. So basically go into your terminal or command prompt and basically type that in, copy and paste it into there. I already downloaded it, so I'm not going to download it again. So after we do that, you can basically follow these instructions, and I'll go through it really quick. We need to set the Go operating system to Linux, because the Lambda function, I'm guessing, uses the Linux architecture. So we'll just go ahead and set that really quick. And now we can basically build or compile our Go code we just had. Let me just remember which folder I put it into. I think it's here. Yeah. So here's the program we just made with our simple Notepad++. And we need to still compile it, so we'll hit go build -o main API, lambda.go. Okay, so this is kind of important. This should always have the main name, the name of main. And basically this will just rename whatever files you compile to this name, this executable. Lambda kind of requires this, or the build Lambda function requires you to have the compiled code as the file name as main. So we'll just hit enter here. We'll compile. Give it a quick second. Hopefully there's no errors. Oops. So unexpected, expecting comma. So, oh, sorry. I was just coding in Python, so must have just small syntax error. Basically, it didn't have the parentheses, and it needs these because you're creating a new type here or object. Let's quickly save that. Let's go back to our command line and recompile. And as you can see, no more errors. Okay, so now we have our compiled main Go program. So now we need to use the builder to zip it up into a nice package so we can upload it to Lambda. And later I'll show you how you can just easily do this in PowerShell, so you don't have to keep typing these command prompt commands. Okay, so to use the build Lambda tool that we just downloaded, it will be located in your Go binary somewhere on your system. For me, it's in my C drive under, this is my user. I don't know why there's spaces, there shouldn't be. Under Go and under bin. And I can quickly show you. And here's the actual tool that we downloaded, which again is right there. So we're going to use that tool just like this command right here. And we're going to build lambda zip -o main.zip. That will be the name of the final zipped product, and our function that we just compiled. Now mine isn't located in this same directory, so let me just quickly that compiled Go program, and we just hit enter here and it should be fine. So it zipped it up into a nice little main zip where we can upload it to Lambda now. Finally, the last step, uploading the code. Okay, so we'll go here, upload a zip file. Again, we're in our Lambda console, and we'll just hit upload, and there's our beautiful main zipped package. We'll hit that, we'll hit open, and we'll save it. Again, okay, so it's saved. So now, again, from our code, if we send it a get method, we should get this response of, yay, a successful response. If we send it with any other method, or query strings or anything, actually it's any other method here, we'll get a method not allowed error. So let's go and test that. Let's go to API Gateway. So here we're in our API Gateway. Go to the resource that we just made, and you can hit get or this. And we'll go to this test button. Since we didn't have any query strings, we can just leave that blank, just for testing here. And hopefully we'll get a successful. So we did not get a success. And that is because, so where's the error? Okay, so if we go down to the error stack, this is basically our problem. So it says, hello, var task hello, no such file or directory. Okay, when you see that, it's most likely because of one problem. So let's go to our Lambda management. There's nothing wrong with the code. It's actually the configuration here. So if you see this handler, here it says hello. You can go to info. Yep. So ours, in our code here, it's actually the main function. So we can just type main here and hit save. And go back to our API response, or API gateway. Let's do another test. Look at that, it works. Yay, successful response. So that's how you connect an API gateway to a Lambda function with your Go code. I will leave the function code on my GitHub, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. I will also create a easy to use PowerShell script that will kind of automate that deployment of the Lambda function. All of these commands right here. So let me know if you have any questions, or if my video sucked, let me know. Thanks.